What is going on, beautiful humans? Welcome to the Thrive Forever Fit Show. I'm obviously your host, Jay Nixon. Before we even start the show, let me say that it means the absolute world to me that you are taking the time out of your busy and hectic days. I know your time is precious to listen to me ramble and rant and talk about things that I find interesting, engaging, and meaningful. And hopefully, I'm going to say something along the way that inspires you to take an action in your life that is transformative and gets you a little closer to that person, that human that you deserve and desire to be. Now, before we jump in, this episode is sponsored by one of my favorite supplements. It's called the Elite Gut Support. Now, gut support, what does that mean? Most of us feel bloated, gassy, burpy, belchy, uncomfortable in our stomach areas, especially after eating. And there's a really simple reason for that. We're not digesting the foods that we're consuming quickly enough and or fully enough in order to get all of those nutrients and all of the positive benefits of that consumption. And let's be honest, some of us are just eating crappy foods, and those are really tough to digest. So what the Elite Gut Support is and what it does, it's a combination of digestive enzymes, which help break down the proteins, the carbs, and the fats. And we all need that assistance in the breaking down of those macronutrients. But what it also is it is a highly concentrated dosage of probiotics, the good bacteria that live in your belly that help you stay healthy and well and fit and all those things. 80% of your immune system, guys, is in your belly, and your immune system is responsible for keeping you healthy, for keeping you well, for keeping you disease and illness free. So if you're not using the Elite Gut Support, it's a chewable tablet. You can take 1 to 2 after each meal. And guys, it will change your life. You will poop better. You will feel better. You'll be less gassy, less bloated. Brain fog is going to go away. It will be your secret weapon. I consider it my dessert for every meal. It's got a tropical fruit flavor, and I absolutely enjoy it. I look forward to using it. I don't have food consumption without my Elite Gut Support. That's how important that is to me. So let's jump into the episode. And today I'm going to talk to you about my C.I.A. success formula. Now, before you get crazy and start thinking C.I.A. Central Intelligence Unit or whatever that may be unit, that'd be C.I.U. Who even knows? You know what I'm talking about. Before it's nothing to do with law enforcement or anything like that, but it should be a universal law for you because it is a universal law of success. And so what we're going to discuss is how most people, and I've even talked about this in the past, I've talked about how most people focus on consistency and commitment. I even did a podcast a year ago or so, and I said consistency is your secret weapon. And I still believe that to be true. But consistency without the C and the I and the A are really, it's useless because most of us are consistent, but we're consistent with negative behaviors. We're consistent with negative thoughts. We're consistent with formulas that don't provide us positive results, but we stay consistent with them because we don't have the key ingredients that make consistency valuable. Another one of the things I talk about a lot is commitment. You've got to be committed if you want to win. You've got to be committed if you want to have a successful life. You've got to be committed if you want successful relationships, successful bodies and wellness and money and all those things. You have to be committed to that success. What most of us are committed to overwhelm, right? We're committed to overwhelming behaviors as opposed to abundant behaviors. And so today what I'm going to do is I'm going to sort out some of that for you. I'm going to give you a new strategy to implement before the consistency and commitment that is going to be your secret weapon, your success formula that is going to help you get everything that you deserve and desire. Because here's the truth. If you're consistently and committedly focused on the wrong things, you're basically on a path of destruction. You're on a path of failure. You're on a path to more overwhelm, more chaos, more adversity, more stress, more challenges. And so if you're one of those people that is consistently finding yourself in the face of an adversity consistently, right? Consistently finding yourself overwhelmed, stressed, chaotic, any of those words, today is just for you. If you're somebody who's doing really, really well, guess what? Today's going to springboard you into the next level of your success. So let's unpack the C.I.A success formula. So without these three things, the commitment, consistency are worthless. So number one is the C, right? And it's clarity. You've got to have clarity about what it is that you really want. And so what's clarity? So the definition of clarity is the quality of being coherent and intangible. Now, what does that mean, right? It's got to be coherent and it's got to be intangible. So let's take it a step further. The quality, transparency, or purity of your thoughts, right? So clarity means, let's humanize that definition and just call it a crystal clear vision of exactly what you want out of life. A crystal clear vision is what clarity should mean to you, right? So what's the I? The I is intention, or being intentional. So the definition of that is a thing intended, an aim, or a plan, right? And so right now, if we have intention, then we are working toward a plan. And if we have clarity about that plan, don't we have a better vision of what that's going to look like? I was being interviewed about a week or so ago, and at the end of the interview, the person said, I absolutely know why you're successful. And I said, oh, interesting. What is it? She's like, in listening to you speak for the last hour, you are intentional about every single aspect of your life. And she's spot on. I'm intentional about how I get up in the morning. I'm intentional about how I go to bed at night. And I'm intentional about anything and everything in the middle of that. I'm intentional about my relationships. I'm intentional about my money. I'm intentional about my nutrition, about my fitness. There's nothing that is left to chance in my life. So you've got clarity, you've got intention, and then the A is obvious. Most of you guys have already figured that one out. It's action, but don't get the cart before the horse on this one. All right, so what is action? It's the fact or process of doing something, typically to achieve an aim, right? Makes sense, right? Intention is an aim or a plan. Action is an action or a focused behavior typically designed to achieve an aim. So they go hand in hand. But here's the situation with that. Most of us are action-oriented without purpose and or passion and or clarity. And so what we end up being is just busy. We end up being overwhelmingly busy with nothing to show for the actions that we partake in. The busiest people I know, this is going to blow your mind. The busiest people that I know are the least successful people I know. Right? Think about that for a second. The most purposeful and passionate people I know are the most successful, because they don't just take action, they take purposeful, inspired action based on their clarity and their intention. And so most people suffer from consistently doing the wrong things, misguided things, mismanaged commitments. And what that does is it leads them down. They're basically committed to failing. They're committed to negative thoughts, negative behaviors, and just being overwhelmed and chaotic enough to feel like they don't have the time for anything else. And what they don't realize, and what you don't realize if you're one of these people, is if you'll get clarity, intention, and then purposeful, inspired action, that busy feeling will go away. That overwhelmed feeling will go away. That uninspired, chaotic feeling will go away. You're just simply suffering from the wrong kinds of consistency. You're committed to the wrong behaviors. You're committed to the wrong habits. And what does this suffering lead to? What does any suffering lead to? It leads to anxiety. And anxiety, simply put, is the anticipation of future pain. And so if you're someone who's experiencing anxiety, overwhelm, chaos, whatever word you use to describe it, you're simply anticipating future pain. And what that tells you is this: you're already aware in some senses that you're on the wrong track. Because if you weren't on the wrong track and you believe that you were on the right course, you wouldn't be anticipating future pain. So what that tells me is your anxiety is letting you know that you're off course, you're out of alignment. And so if you'll get back into alignment, right, that will go away. So anxiety is simply the anticipation of future pain. And the secret is this: the cure for anxiety is purposeful action. Think about that. The cure for anxiety is purposeful action. I want you to write this down. Put this in your notes, put this in your journal, put this somewhere where you can see it, especially if you're someone who gets anxious, if you're someone who feels overwhelmed a lot, if you're someone who feels like this is just too much. Action alleviates anxiety. Action alleviates anxiety. So if you're feeling anxiety about something, take action immediately. So I want you to think about this. Let's unpack that a little bit. Clarity, intention, and action, right? And I'm not saying that anxiety or challenges or whatever you want to call them are going to go away magically. They're not. Life is going to be filled with adversities, challenges, unanswered questions. But if you'll learn the formula, not just learn it, but if you'll apply it, right? If you'll get clarity about what it is that you want, if you'll be intentional about the decisions and actions that you take, and then those actions that you're taking are purposeful and intentional, anxiety is going to be minimized. And then when you do start to feel anxiety, you have the secret formula. You know, all you have to do is take that inspired action, and that will alleviate the anxiety. So let's talk about the 3 steps, right? We've defined what they are, but what is number 1, like getting clarity? What does that mean? It means deciding, massive word. I hope you write that in all caps. It means deciding what you truly want. Think about that for a second. Do you even know what you truly want? Do you have clarity around and about what you want your life to be like? Do you have clarity around the relationships that you really truly desire? Do you have clarity around the body that you want to live in? Do you have clarity around the money, the energy around money that you want to live within? Do you have clarity around that? Number 2, intention. You have to get intentional about your decisions. And more importantly, you have to get intentional about your life. You have to stop leaving things up to chances and hopes and wishes. Like that's dangerous. If you're living a life of hopes and wishes and chance, that's dangerous. It's like the interviewer said to me the other day. You're absolutely intentional about every action that you take throughout the day. And I'm able to be intentional about the actions that I take. Why? Because I have clarity. I'm not wishing and hoping. I have extreme clarity. And I have extreme clarity because I've made the decision on the life that I will live. I've made the decision on what I will and will not tolerate out of life. And that means globally. That means from myself. That means from other people. That means from thoughts, actions, behaviors, words, everything. And then the step number 3 is action. Take purposeful and passionate action that makes your life better. If you've stopped and thought about the decisions and the actions that you take on a daily basis, do they make your life better? Let's start with the simplicity of getting out of bed in the morning. If you're someone who hits the snooze button, and I've got a philosophy and a belief system, and it's purely mine, and you don't have to adopt it if you don't choose to, but I promise you it will be life-changing for you. Success does not have a snooze button. So I am not a snooze button person. I will never allow myself intentionally to hit the snooze button. But not unintentionally either. I'm intentional about not allowing myself to be a snooze button person. And the reason I am is because I have clarity. And that's my first action of the day. When the alarm goes off, if it goes off, usually I get up beforehand because I have clear objectives about what I need to achieve. There's no gray area. So you could really start with something simple. Your first purposeful action would be to eliminate that snooze button from your life, because if you snooze, let's just say you said you're going to get up at 5 a.m. The alarm goes off and you hit snooze. You've taken your first L for the day. And what I mean by that is you've broken your first promise. And if you start your day, 1 day, 2 days, every day for some of you with a broken promise, can you see how that would be detrimental to your success? Can you see how that's consistent for you and you're committed to it? Most snooze button people are consistent with the snooze button and they're committed to it. And what I mean by that is they already know they're going to hit the snooze button before the alarm ever goes off. So why not just set your alarm for the time that you know you're going to get up? Instead of having that interrupted, chaotic level of not even sleep anymore, but like whatever you want to call it. But you're taking the L right off the bat. So that's the first thing you could do is you could take purposeful action, inspired action to get your butt out of bed as soon as that alarm goes off. And that's going to give you clarity because you won. You took it, you have a W in the win column. You start off your day with a win. That's an intentional behavior. You see how simple this is? I want to simplify this so you understand that the action is taking purposeful and passionate action that makes your life better. Everything is an action, guys. There's nothing left to chance. Getting up in the morning, when you say you're going to get up in the morning, is an action that is required of you. And if you break promises to yourself to start your day, you're going to break a whole lot more of them throughout the day. So if you'll take clarity, intention, and action, and then you'll apply positive consistency and commitment to that formula, you've got the recipe for success and abundance. You've got the recipe to win for the rest of your life. It's not challenging. It's not crazy. It's not overwhelming. Notice how simple that first action of the day can be. Simply getting up when the alarm goes off. And then other micro decisions that you can make that would make it a massive difference in your life. If you're someone, let's say you're someone who struggles with weight or just not feeling your best. What if you made the decision that was going to improve that? And it's that simple. You can simply ask yourself these questions at every turn. Is the decision I'm about to make with my lunch going to improve my position in life, or is it going to put another L on the board for me? Right? And some of you guys are just stacking L's. You're collecting L's and you're not even aware of it. You think, oh, it's just lunch. It's not just lunch. Oh, it's just the alarm clock. It's not just the alarm clock. Oh, there's no such thing as, oh, it's just, right? The only people that live, oh, it's just, oh, it doesn't matter. Oh, it is what it is. The only people that live that life are people without clarity, people without intention, and people who have no purposeful or passionate action. It's the truth. I know it sucks to hear. Here's the beautiful part of all of that. You can start right now. You can start right this second. As soon as this podcast ends, your next decision, you can ask yourself a simple question. Does this improve my life? Does this move me in the direction that I desire to go in? It could be with your relationships. And what that means is that could be with your communication, right? It could be with your money. Does spending this money move me in the direction of where it is I need to go? Does making the decision to purchase this move me in the direction of where it is I need to go? Does eating this food make me healthier, or does it decrease my quality of health? Does it move me further away? And I know what you're thinking, it's just one meal. But if you're using the phrase, it's just, right? What if you flip the script on that? And you said, it's just one meal, but I'm going to make that a positive just, right? Just change the perspective of the just, right? We use the word just. Think about it. Where does it come from? Justification, right? It's a justification for behavior and decisions that don't improve the quality of your life. Because you don't have to justify things that are positive and powerful, do you? You never have to justify making a positive, powerful decision. You never have to justify the fact that you work out. You never have to justify the things that improve your life. You only justify to yourself. I'm not even talking to other people. But we got to stop believing and justifying our own BS and understand that without clarity and intention and purposeful action, we don't have a shot. We don't have a chance. Because, yeah, you can talk about consistency all you want, but in reality, you're probably consistently doing things that you shouldn't be doing. consistently doing things that are moving you further away from that holy grail of life that you want to live. You're probably committed to the wrong things. If you think about it, we are our habits, right? And you're committed, and your habits are definitely consistent, right? That's really the definition of a habit, is consistency, something you do repeatedly. You're committed to things already. But most of the things you're committed to are happening unconsciously, right? You're eating unconsciously. You're speaking unconsciously. You're behaving unconsciously. You're consuming unconsciously. And I don't just mean food. You're consuming noise and things that don't provide you value unconsciously. So I've talked about this ad nauseum on the podcast and in my coaching and everything else, is like the intentionalness of my life is predicated on the clarity that I have around what I want. Like I'm very clear about the life that I will live. I don't use the phrase want to live. I'm clear about the life that I will live. And I want that for you as well. I want you to get clarity. I want you to get intentional. And then I want you to start taking inspired, purposeful action, and then apply consistency and commitment to that, and watch your life change exponentially. You deserve that, guys. You absolutely deserve it. Here's my ask of you. If you love this show, if you like the content, if you like listening, if you like the different perspectives that I try to give on simple, basic things in life that might, help you improve or just entertain you or whatever it might be, I would ask that you would share this show with somebody that you think might enjoy it. Review the show for me. So whatever platform you listen on, whether it's Spotify or Google or iTunes or Apple or whatever it might be, if you'll just click the button, give me a review, let me know what you think about it. That helps more people find my show and actually gets the mission that I have to help people live their most abundant life, actually moves me closer to that place and space. And I'd be super grateful and super appreciative if you would do that. And then lastly, if you need help, if you're somebody who needs somebody, right? Something that you're just not sure how to get, I'm available for that as well. I've got two options for you. I've got a free Facebook group called the Wellness Lab Launchpad, 100% free. You can go in there, you can connect with all the other like-minded individuals. You can ask questions, you can interact, you can be a part of that free place and space. But if you need some one-on-one attention, if you need some questions answered, if you need some clarity around your life, if you need a formula for success, I've got a couple of options for that as well. I've got a program called the Thrive Forever Fit program. It's a group coaching program. We've got amazing human beings in there that you'll absolutely love. And then I also offer one-on-one coaching and consulting and mentoring. All you have to do is go to my website, thriveforeverfit.com. You'll find all of those available options. Even if you just want to reach out and say hi, you can send me a note through there as well. So guys, I want to say lastly before we go, and I know I said this to start the show off, but I appreciate you more than you even know. I'm grateful that you spend your time listening to me, and hopefully I've said something today that has inspired you to think differently, act differently, and just be a different version of who you are. And I'll be back next week to hopefully do the very same thing. But I love you. I appreciate you. Be awesome to yourself. Be awesome to others. And we'll see you right back here very, very soon. All right. Peace, guys. Bye.